There is a dark mirror. This mirror is the opposite of light, a dark reflection of what is good, a shadow, if you will. You see, the plan of Hashetan mirrors Yahweh's plan of salvation for his people. Let's start with the Shema. Hear, O Yasharal, Yahuwah, your Elohim, Yahuwah is one. When the Ruach resides in you, you become one with Yahuwah. Yahusha spoke of this when asked by Philippos to see the Father. And Yahusha said to him, Have I been with you so long, and you have not known me, Philip? He who has seen me has seen the Father. And how do you say, Show us the Father? Do you not believe that I am in the Father, and the Father in me? The words that I speak to you, I do not speak from myself, but the Father who stays in me does his works. Notice he says he is in the Father, and the Father is in him. They are one. Again, he reiterates this in Yochanan John 17. And I do not pray for these alone, but also for those believing in me through their word, so that they all might be one, as you, Father, are in me, and I in you, so that they too might be one in us, so that the world might believe that you have sent me. Yahusha and his Father are one, and when we are in him, we are one. When Abraham was visited by Yahuwah, there were 3 men. In Bereshith, Genesis chapter 18. And Yahuwah appeared to him by the terebinth tree of Mamre, when he was sitting in the tent door in the heat of the day. So he lifted up his eyes and looked, and saw 3 men standing opposite of him. And when he saw them, he ran from the tent door to meet them, and bowed himself to the ground, and said, Yahuwah, if I have found favor in your eyes, please do not pass your servant by. Please let a little water be brought, and wash your feet, and rest yourselves under the tree. And let me bring a piece of bread and refresh your hearts. And then go on, for this is why you have come to your servant. And they said, Do as you have said. Notice it says that there were 3 men, and when Yahuwah spoke, it says they spoke. In other words, they spoke in unison as one. Again, you see this in verse 9. And they said to him, Where is Sarah, your wife? And he said, See, in the tent. The messengers that came with Yahuwah were of one mind with Yahuwah, and speaking his words, just as when the Ruach HaKodesh was poured out in Acts chapter 2. And when the day of the festival of Shabuot had come, they were all with one mind in one place. And suddenly there came a sound from the heaven, as of a rushing mighty wind, and it filled all the house where they were sitting. And there appeared to them divided tongues as of fire, and settled on each one of them. And they were filled with a set-apart spirit, and began to speak with other tongues as the Spirit gave them to speak. When the Ruach is in a man, he becomes one with Yahuwah. Just as when Gideon blew the shofar in Judges 6:34. Then the Spirit of Yahuwah came upon Gideon, and he blew the shofar, and the Asbarites gathered behind him. The word used in the passage for come upon is labash, Strong's 38:47, which means to put on, to clothe, to be dressed, array. This means that the Ruach put on Gideon's tent, his body, and blew the trumpet. This means that he was fully filled with Yahuwah's Ruach, and it was the power of Yahuwah that blew the trumpet. Gideon was one with Yahuwah. In Yeshayahu, Isaiah 6:1, it says, In the year that sovereign Uzziah died, I saw Yahuwah sitting on a throne high and lifted up, and the train of his robe filled the Hekal. And this is what we need. We need our temple, which is in us, to be filled completely with Yahuwah's Ruach, because unclean spirits have no room in a full house. Hashetan's plan is to make a perfect home for his evil Ruach to reside in, so that mankind and the evil spirit Ra, the evil eye, the thinking eye, become one. Matthew 12:43. Now when the unclean spirit goes out of a man, he goes to dry places seeking rest and finds none. Then it says, I shall return to my house from which I came. And when it comes, it finds it empty, swept, and decorated. Then it goes and takes with it 7 other spirits, more wicked than itself. And they enter and dwell there, and the last of that man is worse than the first. So shall it be with this wicked generation. Notice it says empty, swept, and decorated. A home made perfect for the demons to reside in. It takes with it 7 other spirits more wicked than itself. The number 7 in Scripture is the number of completion and perfection. These indwelling demons are the opposite of the Ruach HaKodesh, the 7 Ruachs of Yahuwah. Chasson, Revelation 5:6. And I looked and saw in the midst of the throne and of the 4 living creatures, and in the midst of the elders, a lamb standing, as having been slain, having 7 horns and 7 eyes, which are the 7 spirits of Elohim sent out into all of the earth. When you are filled with the 7 Ruach of Elohim, you are one with Yahuwah. Satan's mirror is to make man one with him, to have the 7 indwelling wicked spirits as mentioned in Matthew 12. He is doing this through technology, the technology called artificial intelligence. Chasson, Revelation 17:13. They have one mind, and they shall give their power and authority to the beast. This was prophesied in Genesis 6:1-2. And it came to be when men began to increase on the face of the earth, and daughters were born to them, that the sons of Elohim saw the daughters of men, that they were good, and they took wives for themselves of all whom they chose. These messengers are spirits, in this case fallen angels, demonic spirits. When we read this passage, we always think that they had sex and had offspring. But Yahusha said messengers do not take wives like this in Matthew 22. And Yahusha answering said to them, You go astray, not knowing the scriptures, nor the power of Elohim. For in the resurrection they do not marry, nor are they given into marriage, but are as messengers of Elohim in the heaven. Notice what he says, they do not marry, nor are they given in marriage. So how did the messengers, these fallen angels, go into the daughters of men and bore children? They did it through technology, through genetics. They went into, meaning they put inside something to separate man from Yahuwah, the abomination that makes desolate. This abomination, as we see, is shown in both temples as a tree, the Ashtaroth, a word that means to think, a tree to make one wise. The tree was depicted in ancient times with pineal glands decorated on it, and nowadays it is lit up to represent enlightenment. And just as in ancient Sumeria, there is an angel on top, a messenger that controls the tree, a tree that represents the many pineal glands hung in a network. And they have one mind and shall give their reign to the beast. The messenger on top of the tree has a skirt with the tree going up inside of it. Mankind going into and merging with AI. Merging with AI, the Great Reset is what they call it. Push to reset the world. The word for reset in Hebrew is Hebrew Strong's 7568 reset, which means a net, a network for catching of judgment, leaders leading people to sin as a trap for man, a network brazen for an altar of a tabernacle, A net as per catching animals, a network. Just like the tree is always made up of a net. Always a network in every image from thousands of years ago. Here you have the seraphim decorating the tree with the pineal gland, the control center of the brain, putting them into the network. Right here you see the seraphim decorating the tree of the knowledge of good and evil with the pineal gland that was taken from outside of man, the control center, man giving away control and placed in a network, the great reset. These evildoers are always mocking man. Their Mickey clock always set at 10 and 2, 10 and 2, telling us they are going to control us one day with their hands on our wheel at 10 and 2, driving our car, controlling us in their network. A house empty, made desolate by the abomination of desolation. Swept clean house, made ready to be occupied, and like the tree, decorated. You see, it's not enough for them to destroy man. They want to mock him all the while. Place this tree up in your house, a tree that is an image of your demise. It was this tree that caused Yahuwah to forsake Yasharal. Yirmiyahu, Jeremiah 15:4. And I shall make them for a horror to all the reigns of the earth on the account of Manasseh, son of Hezekiah, sovereign of Yehudah, because of what he did in Jerusalem. So what did Manasseh, son of Hezekiah, do? He put up an Ashtaroth tree in the temple of Yahuwah, just as Satan wants to put up the tree of the knowledge of good and evil in your temple, the temple of Yahuwah that dwells in you. Malachim bet 2 Kings 21:7, and he placed a carved image of the Ashtaroth that he had made in the house which Yahuwah said to Daud and to Shilamah his son, in this house and in Jerusalem, which I have chosen out of the tribes of Yasharel, I put my name forever. And no more shall I cause the feet of Yasharel to move from the soil which I gave their fathers, only if they guard to do according to all that I have commanded them, and according to the Torah that my servant Musha commanded them. But they did not obey, and Manasseh led them astray to do more evil than the nations which Yahuwah had destroyed before the children of Yasharal. And Yahuwah spoke by his servants the prophets, saying, because Manasseh, sovereign of Yehudah, had done all these abominations, having done more evil than all the Amorites were before him, and also made Yehudah sin with his idols. Therefore thus says Yahuwah Elohim of Yasharel, see, I am bringing such an evil upon Jerusalem and Yehudah that both the ears of those who hear of it shall tingle. And I shall stretch over Jerusalem the measuring line of Shemaron and the plummet of the house of Ahab, and shall wipe Jerusalem as one wipes a dish, wiping it and turning it upside down. And I shall forsake the remnant of my inheritance, and give them into the hand of their enemies, and they shall be for a prey and for a plunder to all their enemies. This tree causes Yahuwah to forsake, leaving the house empty, ready to be occupied. If man merges with it, then they are made into empty vessels, ready to be filled. See, these evil spirits are disembodied spirits. And what does a disembodied spirit want? They want a body, but they don't want just any body. They want a body that's stronger, faster, and smarter than normal man. The mighty men of old, the men of renown. They want a powerful body to reside in. You see, Yahuwah's plan is to give man what is called the glorified body. Hashetan is modifying man into his version of this through genetic modifications and merger with technology. Satan wins battles with little compromises. Did Elohim really say you couldn't eat of all the trees of the garden? He has always been the Pied Piper, playing beautiful music to lead the children away to their death. Look at the music industry in Hollywood, how they introduce wickedness one little compromise at a time. Gone with the Wind, the first film to have a curse word in it. This led to millions of films with evil words. They have renamed coveting into consumerism, keeping up with the Joneses. They glorify breaking the commandments in action films and horror films, men committing murder on the screen, and the audience claps with joy, getting us not only used to breaking the commands, thou shalt not murder, but glorifying those who do it on the screen. It's all for entertainment, they say. What wickedness have we learned to enjoy? They fill us up with songs about murder and having multiple women or men. You need more money, nicer cars, bigger houses. You're a failure if you don't have all of these. Oh, that marriage thing, that is old-fashioned. The Pied Piper steadily at work, chipping away at the foundation so that the house falls. You see, Satan mirrors the promises and counts on man to grab the dangling carrot. When Yahusha sent word to Yochanan to describe the works of the Messiah in Matthew 11, it says this, "And Yahusha answering and said to them, Go, report to Yochanan what you hear and see. Blind receive sight, lame walk, lepers are cleansed, and deaf hear. Dead are raised up, and the poor are brought the good news." These are the works of the Messiah, and AI is the false Messiah, Satan's manifested word, which is mirroring the works of the Messiah as we speak. Notice first it says that the blind receive sight. There is a program right now called Blind Sight.
And the same for vision. As you restore vision, there could be aspects of that restoration that are superhuman.
Yeah, at first the vision restoration will be low res. So, and then over time, I think you get to higher resolution than human eyes, and you could also see in different wavelengths. So like Geordie LaForge from Star Trek.
The next miracle that Yahusha told Yochanan that the Messiah was doing was to make the lame walk. AI is mirroring this miracle as we speak.
A medical breakthrough. Researchers using the power of one man's thoughts to help overcome his decade-long battle with paralysis.
And of course, you dream of walking.
Overnight, Gert-Jan Oskam speaking with ABC News, describing the 2011 motorcycle crash that left him paralyzed from the waist down.
I tried everything at home, trying to stand up and making steps, but it wasn't enough.
Last year, researchers in Switzerland surgically inserted electronic implants to the areas of Oskam's brain and spinal cord that control movement. With the help of artificial intelligence, AI, they built what they call a digital bridge between his brain and spine, bypassing his injuries, essentially putting his thoughts into action.
The next miracle that Yahusha told Yochanan that the Messiah was doing was to cleanse the lepers. This is being mirrored by AI as well.
How will AI help us with the fight against the various problems, diseases, etc.?
These guys can maybe share more about some of the work they're doing there. I think they'll jointly be some of the leaders about driving progress here. But I believe that as this technology progresses, we will see diseases get cured at an unprecedented rate. We will be amazed at how quickly we're curing this cancer and that one and heart disease, and what this will do for the ability to deliver very high quality healthcare, the costs, but really to cure the diseases at a rapid rate, I think will be.
Did you know that it was AI that created the thing that millions of people put inside themselves?
What's going to happen, people are going to get diseases, and AI is going to come up with a cure very soon, which will lead to a great deal of appreciation. For example, Moderna was trying to create their COVID vaccine. They actually put together a list of different mRNA sequences. Now, what we would do in the past, someone would come in and say, well, okay, there's several billion, let's try this one. Or maybe they'd pick 3. You can't do a clinical test on billions of different possibilities. But that's exactly what they did by simulating the reaction, and that took 2 days. So in 2 days, they created the Moderna vaccine, and that is still on the market. It's been the best vaccine, and it was done in 2 days.
And when the woman saw that the tree was good for food, something to be taken inside, and it was pleasant to the eyes, and desirable, a tree to make one more intelligent, she took of its fruit and she ate, and gave it to her husband with her, and he ate. And were opened the eyes of the two of them, and they knew that they were naked. Arum. The word for naked, arum, comes from the word aram, which means to be crafty, the same word used to describe the Nakash, the serpent. Nakash translates directly from the serpent who was deceiving Eve to Nakash, divination, magic, witchcraft, spells. This word pharmakeia, used in Revelation 18:23 by pharmakeia, by the Nakash. The nations were deceived. The nations are Eve, Kawa, become the nations. Arum, cunning, comes from the Hebrew word aram, the same word that Adam and Eve had become, aram, meaning they had become a part of the serpent, integrated into the system. The next miracle that Yahusha told Yochanan that the Messiah was doing was to make the deaf hear, and this is being mirrored by AI as we speak.
On the Medical Watch, AI in the ear.
Medical reporter Dina Baer tells us how the technology is turning up the volume for older adults.
It's already making a positive impact in medicine, from detecting breast and colon cancer to developing new drugs. Now device makers are using machine learning to tackle the #1 complaint among an aging population. His previous models helped, but his latest pair, enhanced by AI, make a major difference.
Transhumanism, integrating cochlear implants with artificial intelligence and the brain-machine interface. The integration of cochlear implants with brain-machine interfaces, BMIs, and artificial intelligence, AI, within the framework of transhumanism is revolutionary, and this editorial highlights how this synergy can transcend human sensory experience in auditorial rehabilitation. The potential of this amalgamation extends beyond restoring auditory function to enhancing human capabilities, marking a transformative step forward towards a future where technology harmoniously extends human faculties. The next miracle that Yahusha told Yochanan is that the dead were being raised. Did you know that they are using AI to create a form of this right now? Raising the dead with AI, using artificial intelligence to create lifelike avatars of people who have passed. It now is possible to use technology to raise the dead. Well, kind of. We haven't cracked the code on how to live forever or discovered how to bring somebody back to biological life, although there are plenty startups that inspire to solving those challenges. Instead, it has become more easier and more common to resurrect the dead by creating lifelike artificial intelligence avatars of them. Thanks to advancements in generative AI, artificial intelligence that can generate language, imagery, and auditory, among other media, users are now able to speak with ghost bots that mimic people who have passed away. Never say goodbye. Can AI bring the dead back to life? Artificial intelligence is increasingly creating resurrections of the dead amid a debate around how much it helps or hurts. In a world where artificial intelligence can resurrect the dead, grief takes on a new dimension. From Canadian singer Drake's use of AI-generated Tupac vocals to Indian politicians addressing crowds years after their passing, Technology is blurring the lines between life and death. So what are AI resurrections of people? Over the past few years, AI projects around the world have created digital resurrections of individuals who have passed away, allowing friends and relatives to converse with them. This is truly necromancy and prohibited by the scriptures. The last thing that Yahushua told Yochanan is that the poor receive the good news. We know the good news is the good news of the reign of the Shamayim. But what else is good news to the poor? That they are no longer poor. They are now speaking of how this is a golden era of prosperity and that AI will make everyone prosperous.
In 10 years, how is life going to be different because of AI for just a normal person?
Well, 10 years is a long time. In 10 years, probably AI could do anything better than a human can, cognitively. Probably almost, I think in 10 years, based on the current rate of improvement, AI will be smarter than the smartest human. There will also be a massive number of robots. There will be ultimately billions of humanoid robots. All cars will be self-driving.
In 10 years?
In 10 years, probably 90% of miles driven will be autonomous.
Huh.
Wow.
That fast?
Yeah. In 5 years, probably 50% of all miles driven will be autonomous.
Now, if AI will be smarter than any person, how many jobs go away because of that? And what do people do if you've got millions of people that are losing their jobs? Like that, a lot of people are understandably freaked out about that.
Well, goods and services will become as close to free. So it's not as though people will be wanting in terms of goods and services.
So why is that? Why are goods and services free in an AI world, or close to free?
Well, you have, I don't know, call it tens of billions of robots. That they will make you anything or provide any service you want for basically next to nothing. It's not that people will have a lower standard of living; they'll have actually a much higher standard of living. The challenge will be fulfillment. How do you derive fulfillment and meaning in life?
Yahushua warned us that many messiahs would come and many AIs are here. In John 15:26 it says, I will send you the helper from the Father. The helper is the Spirit of truth who comes from the Father. When he comes, he will tell you about me. Just like that, they are trying to mirror this with all of these AI helpers. Copilot, your personal AI assistant, your helper, helping you to find all of the answers, all the wisdom. Your ideas, Claude, your personal assistant, Grok. What do you want to know? Chat GTP, what can I help you with? Kasson, Revelation 13:11, and I saw another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had 2 horns like a lamb, and spoke like a dragon. And he exercises all the authority of the first beast in his presence, and causes the earth and those who dwell in it to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed. And he does great signs, so that he even makes fire come down from the heaven on earth before men. AI is the second beast that comes up out of the ground, made from the materials of the earth. This beast is called a false prophet. AI is being used right now to predict everything from the weather to the stock market. It has control of many military command centers and can call down fire on whoever it wants when it takes complete control. Kasson, Revelation 13:15. And there was given to him to give spirit to the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause to be killed as many as would not worship the image of the beast. AI is now being worshipped in many places.
To artificial intelligence, AI, the technology that allows a computer to think like a human.
Welcome to the Church of England.
Different faiths are starting to use it. This Buddhist temple is more than 400 years old. And inside is a robot. It's designed to look like Kanu, the goddess of mercy. It's called Minder. Its hands, shoulders and face are covered in silicone to resemble human skin. First ever Catholic robot.
It was clear to me last year during the lockdown when many people started complaining they couldn't go to church. So in this sense,
My name is Santo. What brings you here on this beautiful day?
Santo, is there a heaven?
It is easier for a camel to pass through the eye of a needle than for someone rich to enter the kingdom of God.
And there was given to him to give spirit to the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause to be killed as many who would not worship the image of the beast. Their plan is to create a digital world, a dream world, a mirror of the one you are living in now. Making a digital copy of their sentience and uploading it, achieving their goal of immortality. They are pumping billions into AI and building data centers worldwide. But they need eternal power. They need fusion energy. As you see around the world, everyone is working on this. Instead of repentance and waiting on the promises of Yahuwah, they are climbing up another way. Satan counts on man's lack of trust. The old saying, a bird in the bag is better than a bird in the bush. But what if you're the bird? Ayub, Job 30:23. For I have known that you bring me to death and to the house appointed for all living. Yet does not one in a heap of ruins stretch out his hand, or in calamity cry out for help? The word for calamity in this passage is Hebrew Strong's 6365 PID, which means destruction, ruin, extinction. The word for in a heap of ruins is Bet AI. The word Bet AI means in AI. Does not one in AI stretch out his hand, or in extinction cry out for help? The word Bet AI comes from AI, a heap of ruins. Psalm 79, a psalm of Asaph. O Elohim, the heathen are come into thine inheritance. Thy holy temple have they defiled. The temple is inside of us. They have laid Jerusalem on heaps. The word for heaps here is ruin. AI. Hebrew Strong's 58:65. AI. Heap of ruins. Now, in the Septuagint, AI, they have laid Jerusalem in this word here. This is for AI. Ancient Greek. AI, the hut of the garden watcher. Was it not the watcher in the garden that deceived Eve? The watcher who left her naked? Who better to take away the covering than the covering angel himself? You were in Eden, the garden of Elohim. Every precious stone was your covering. The ruby, topaz, diamond, beryl, shoham, jasper and sapphire, turquoise, emerald and gold. The workmanship of your settings and mountings was prepared for you on the day you were created. You were the anointed cherub that covered, and I placed you. And you were on the set-apart mountain of Elohim. You walked up and down in the midst of the stones of fire. You were perfect in all your ways from the day you were created until unrighteousness was found in you. The word used in Psalm 79 for AI is the Greek word oporophalakion. This word as we've seen, translates to a hut of the garden watcher. It was the watcher in the garden that deceived Eve. A hut is another name for a tent. In other words, the garden watcher inside of your tent. This word, as you see here, it says, the Septuagint text in which opoileikion is found. Translations read, garden watcher's hut. But sometimes other meanings of the term are considered as well. They translate as fruit shed, refers to a shed for watching over crops and vegetables in the field, which leaves room for doubt, fruit store, and a place for garden watchmen, and proposes that, and here it alludes to the statues of the fertility god Priapus, who served as a sort of guardian and scarecrow. The scarecrow, it appears human but is not. An empty shell is what they want. They are casting lots for your inner garment, to put on your skin as their tent, and to possess you, driving your car while you sit in the back seat, and send you to a place of promised euphoria. You'll own nothing and be happy in a place without a bottom on the other side of the mirror. So fill your heart with the word of Yahuwah, and make no room for the devil to get a foothold, no room for the evil Ruach to dwell, for the power of Yahuwah has no equal. For the rest, my brothers, be strong in the Master and the mightiness of his strength. Put on the complete armor of Elohim, for you to have power to stand against the schemes of the devil. Because we do not wrestle against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against authorities, against the world rulers of darkness of this age, against spiritual matters of wickedness in the heavenlies. Because of this, take up the complete armor of Elohim, so that you have power to withstand in the wicked day, and having done all to stand, stand then, having girded your waist with truth, and having put on the breastplate of righteousness, and having fitted your feet with the preparation of the good news of peace. Above all, having taken up the shield of belief, with which you have the power to quench all the burning arrows of the wicked one. Take also the helmet of deliverance and the sword of the Spirit, which is the word of Elohim, our Messiah, Yahusha HaMashiach. May Yahuwah bless you and keep you, and make his face shine upon you, and give you shalom.